The biggest, most successful brands in the world do this. It is possible and it can help you to dominate your market. We're going to lay out a few concepts. We're going to talk about how it works and why it works. And then I'm going to give you 5 strategies for increasing your share of voice in your space. All right, guys, what if I told you there is a way to essentially pick how much market share you want, and there's a mathematical formula you can use to go out and get it? In fact, it's a very simple formula. What if I told you that you can do this with a relative degree of certainty? And what if I told you there are numerous studies, including a Harvard Business School study, that support what we're going to talk about? These things are all true. Whether we are talking about Amazon or Instagram or any other digital platform, there is a way to determine how much of the market share you're going to get, and there's a way to drive that outcome. So, for example, let's say you sell on Amazon, you sell grandma's famous fruitcakes, and there are the market size is 10,000 sales per month, and you want to capture 10% of that. So you want 1,000 sales per month out of the 10,000 possible sales. That's a 10% market share. There is a way to do that. In fact, this strategy is really empirically proven. It's called share of voice. The biggest, most successful brands in the world do this. It is possible and it can help you to dominate your market. We're going to lay out a few concepts. We're going to talk about how it works and why it works. And then I'm going to give you 5 strategies for increasing your share of voice in your space. We're about to dig in, but before we do, a note from our sponsors. All right, we don't have any sponsors, but we do want to continue to bring you great content and help you to beat your competition. So please help us to do that by hitting the like button, subscribing to this channel, and leaving us a comment. Now, I realize I made a pretty outlandish claim. I told you that it was possible to pick the amount of market share that you want, and then there was a simple mathematical model for making that happen, for going out and getting that specific amount of market share. Now, I can, but it's not my idea, thank God. This is an idea that's been around since the early 1990s, and it's used by some really large corporations. Share of voice. All right, share of voice works, and we're going to explain how it works and how you can master it. But first, we have to understand what it is. When I'm referring to share of voice, what I mean is, at least in a digital marketplace, when a customer types a search term into a search box, there are a number of page 1 results. Your share of voice is the percentage of those results that your brand holds. So a customer types a search term into a search box, page 1 results come up, and let's say there are 40 spots, 40 placements between organic, paid, banner, video, whatever's on that page. If there are 40 spots and your brand holds 4 of those, 4 divided by 40 is 10%. You have a share of voice of 10%. It's that simple. That's what we're referring to when we refer to share of voice. Now, there's one more bonus term that we have to understand. It's very closely related, and it's called extra share of voice. What extra share of voice means is it is the difference between your share of voice and your share of market. The difference between your share of voice and your share of market. So let's say you have a share of voice of 3% and you have a share of market of 2%. You have an extra share of voice of 3% minus 2% equals 1%. Now, if those numbers are inverted and you have a market share of 3% and a share of voice of 2%, you have a negative extra share of voice. You have an extra share of voice of negative 1%. This is super important because share of voice is the concept, but extra share of voice is that mathematical model that we talked about that we're going to use to drive a specific amount of market share. Now, we define share of voice, and we define an additional term called extra share of voice, which is essentially, again, the difference between your share of voice, and your existing market share. This is where things get crazy. We're going to go back to that Harvard Business School study. It was a study by a professor named John Philip Jones. It was performed in 1990. And what he found is that a brand's market share will essentially follow that brand's share of voice. So a market share will pursue and follow a share of voice. In other words, a market share, a percentage of market share, will eventually become the brand's share of voice. Whoa, this is huge. So if I have a market share of 5 and I can achieve a share of voice of 10%, that 5% market share will eventually become my 10% share of voice. It will even out. Market share always follows share of voice. This isn't just the result of that one Harvard Business School study. This study has been replicated over and over and over in different ways under different conditions. LinkedIn did a study much more recently, and they came up with the same result. Now, if you remember that term extra share of voice, if I have an extra share of voice and it is a positive number, my market share will grow. If I have a share of voice and it ends up being a net negative number, my market share is going to shrink. Why does this work? Well, especially in digital marketplace, in digital territory, the more of those product placements that we take up, the more customer eyeballs we're going to get. The more eyeballs we get, the more clicks we're going to get. The more clicks we get, the more sales we get. And the more sales we get, the more organic placements we get. So it's a big cycle. It works, and it is empirically proven over and over and over again. All right, now that we have the concept down, I do realize that it's a simple concept, but execution is, well, not always so simple. So I want to give you 5 tactics that we can all use to grow our share of voice in the most effective and efficient way possible. Number 1, if we want to grow our share of voice, we generally want to start with the least competitive spaces, master those, and work our way up. Why? Because the least competitive spaces are usually the cheapest. They're less saturated, they're easiest to participate in, again, cheapest and easiest to master. So if we're talking about maybe selling spatulas on Amazon, if you wanted to try to start mastering share of voice for the customer search spatulas, good luck, because so is everyone else. But if you were to start with stainless steel spatulas for crepes, if that's even a thing, that's going to be much easier to compete. It's going to be much easier to master, to grow in share of voice, and to finance in terms of advertising, sponsored positions, etc. If we're talking about maybe social media like Instagram, we want to start with our longer, more specific hashtags, master those, and work our way up. So an example for, say, Instagram would be a very competitive general term might be fitness. You're not even going to show up, most of us. However, you might have a pretty good shot at mastering share of voice for fitness for women over 40. So we want to start with the least competitive spaces, master those, and then work to more and more general terms as we're able to. Number 2, if we want to grow our share of voice, we're going to have to participate in and compete in every possible type of placement available. So not just organic results, but also paid results, paid placements, not just paid placements, but every type of paid placement. That means we're not going to be able to stick to just our favorites. We're going to have to advertise on banners and margins and videos. We're going to have to participate in every type of organic placement possible. So even if we have to start with a really low bid, we at least want to show up. Why? Because share of voice means that we take up more positions. If we want to take up more positions, we have to participate in every different type. Number 3, you can increase your share of voice simply by increasing the number of relevant offers. What do I mean by relevant offers? More different types of products. So if I'm selling spatulas, I don't have to master the market. I don't have to dominate and gain market share with one product. I can sell multi-packs. I can sell variety packs. I can sell different sizes and shapes. Anything that'll help me to take up more product placements or take product placements away from my competitors. If I'm working from, say, Instagram, maybe I just need to post more. Again, that's more products. Instead of posting once a day, I may be posting twice a day. Number 4, if you want to increase your share of voice, start hanging out on your competitors' real estate. What do I mean by that? Well, it depends on where you're competing. On Amazon, as an agency, one of the campaigns that we set up are competitive ASIN campaigns, meaning competitive listing campaigns. So we'll build a whole campaign that does nothing but put our client's product all over the listing page of all their competitors. It doesn't always convert the best. We don't do terrible that way. But the point is share of voice. It's putting that product on more digital real estate. We run banner ads where on our competitor's brand name. So if a customer types in, a competitor's brand, our brand's banner ideally pops up at the top of the page or wherever that banner shows up. If you're talking about social media, show up in your competitors' comments. You can even learn their posting cadence and be the first to comment every time they release a post or a video or whatever. Why do we do this? It's more digital real estate, and that's the way share of voice works. We have to take up as many placements as we can, whenever we can, in whatever way we can. Number 5, if we want to increase our share of voice, never pass up on an opportunity for a customer touch. What do I mean by a customer touch? Any interaction that you can achieve with a customer. Now, if you're wondering, what does that have to do with share of voice? Well, if a customer sees you once on some particular product placement and you have an opportunity for an interaction every single time they hear from you, that's share of voice. That's them seeing your brand or having an experience with your brand. So customer leaves you a comment, always reply. A customer has an issue with the product, always interact with them as much as they want. Don't use that time to budget your own personal time or the time of your staff. Interact. Take that opportunity because it builds your share of voice. Customer leaves you a positive review, reply to it and thank them. Customer leaves you a negative review, reply to it and apologize. Never pass up the opportunity for a customer touch. So there you have it, 5 tactics for mastering share of voice. It's what we do here at Elite Commerce Group. Once again, number 1, start with less competitive spaces and work your way up. Number 2, participate in every possible product placement available, whether organic or paid. Number 3, increase the number of offers that you have. Number 4, show up on your competitor's real estate. Number 5, never miss the opportunity for a customer touch. All right, guys, if you want us to continue helping you to beat your competition, I'm going to ask you to beat up the like button. Please subscribe. And if there's anything you want my team of 25 and I to ferret out, to hound down, to come up with the answer for you, please leave me a comment. And otherwise, we'll see you next time.